Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our PIES agenda today, September the 16th, I think it is. So we are going to ask later in our discussion items, number one, the noise variance, if Dan or someone from his department, engineering services, could show up and explain that to us, is the noise variance ordinance revision. And with that, we will start off with our discussion items with the 2023 State Auditor exit, Michelle Murray. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you. It's my pleasure to tell you that the 2023 City of Spokane financial audit is completed, along with the single audit. And here to present the exit is the State Auditor's Office, Alicia Shaw, Larissa Nolte, and Andy Rood.
Always good to see you again, Alicia. Welcome back.
Thank you, Well, we have some packets we're handing out to you that include a copy of our audit report that we'll be publishing on our website. As Michelle just said, I'm Alicia Shaw, I'm the audit manager for the team that's responsible for your audit. And then I have Larissa Nolte with me, who's the supervisor of the audit, and then Andy Rood, who's the in-charge auditor. We appreciate your time this afternoon to meet with you and share the results of your financial statement and federal grant compliance audits. This is an opportunity for you to ask any final questions you may have regarding the audit before we publish the report on our website. We do have a presentation that we're sharing up here. We're going to speak mostly from this presentation, but there are further details that you can find, and we'll make reference where you can find additional information within that packet that we just provided to you, but we will not speak directly from that packet. As you may know, an important role of audits is their ability to increase trust in your government. The State Auditor's Office particularly does that because we are an independent audit organization. We perform transparent examinations of both state and local governments, and we publish the results of our examinations on our website, which allows you and your users to be able to know the results of our audits. Another important role of audits is their ability to identify where governments can increase their efficiency and their effectiveness, and they do that by letting you know where there's areas that that city employees could further comply with not only their own policies and procedures, but also any applicable laws or regulations. And we point those out during the course of the audit when we meet with management in the form of recommendations. And if there's any other levels of recommendation that need to be brought into our audit report, we do share that with council at this meeting. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Larissa Nolte to talk about your financial statement report.
So we conducted a financial statement audit for the 2023 fiscal period. The purpose of a financial statement audit is to issue an opinion as to whether the information that's included in the financial statements can be relied upon to make decisions. For your reference, you can find a summary of these results on page 6 of the exit packet. The report that we'll be referencing is titled Schedule of Findings and Question Costs. So we're pleased to report that we are issuing an unmodified clean audit opinion on the city's financial statements. This opinion provides assurance to a reader that the financial statements are stated fairly and that they're materially correct. Our audits are conducted in accordance with government auditing standards, and those standards require that beginning understanding of the city's process that it went through to prepare the financial statements. And if we identify a concern with that process that could result in significant errors or a material weakness, we are required to bring that to your attention and include that information in our report. We are happy to report that we did not identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal controls over the financial statements, and we noted no instance of non-compliance that was material. However, we are issuing a management letter over the financial statement preparation, and we'll discuss that in a few slides. So to piggyback off of the last slide and to continue with the required communications, we did not identify any material misstatements during the audit, and there were no misstatements that remain uncorrected in the audited financial statements. So overall, really good. As part of our financial statement audit, we also evaluated certain risks that we'd like to share with you. So first, audit standards require that auditors evaluate the possibility that management may be able to circumvent certain controls. So we select a handful of journal entries during our review to audit, and we're pleased to share with you that our evaluation showed no instances or possibilities where controls were circumvented. The city also implemented 2 new accounting standards that were given special consideration during our audit. This includes GASB 96 for subscription-based information technology arrangements and GASB 101, compensated absences, and this one was early implemented. So our review included verifying that the city evaluated the completeness of these standards and that they reported on them correctly. We would like to note that the city did identify errors with their GASB 101 implementation and determined after the start of the audit to remove that standard from the financial statements. So the GASB 101 implementation errors did result in the issuance of a management letter, which we'll discuss now. So before we begin, just note that management letters are not included in our audit report, but they are referenced. And it still constitutes a public document. However, we don't publish this on our website. So for your reference, you'll find a full version of this letter included in your exit packet on page 5. The topic of the management letter is financial statement preparation, and it includes a couple of control deficiencies that we identified during the audit. As stated earlier, these items did not raise to the level of a significant deficiency or a material weakness. However, we do consider this a control deficiency that's important enough that we'd like to bring it to your attention. So we noted that while the city had controls over the implementation of GASB 101, the process was not adequate to ensure that the balances were stated correctly. And that additionally, because the city early implemented GASB 101, they were also required to early implement GASB 100, which is accounting changes and error corrections. However, the city did deem this standard not applicable during their GASB analysis. We also identified that while the city correctly reported their net pension asset, the statement of net pension for governmental activities did not report this asset as restricted on that statement. So we are recommending that the city follow their established controls to perform adequate research when evaluating and implementing new GASB standards, and that the city perform a detailed review of the financial statements to ensure restricted net position includes all required elements. Are there any questions about the management letter? So for the last slide related to the financial statements, the city utilizes Moss Adams for their audits over their pension plans. We did rely on the work performed over the Spokane Employees Retirement Systems audit. So in order for us to rely on this audit in lieu of our own, we are required to perform certain procedures. In that evaluation, we did not find anything about Moss Adams' work that caused concern about the quality. We did not encounter limitations that restricted our review, and we did not identify any instances in which material misstatements of the financial statements has or did result from fraud or suspected fraud. So are there any questions about the financial statement report? Okay, I'll hand it over to Andy, and he will talk about the single audit.
All right, so we also performed a federal grant compliance audit for the period of January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2023. And the results of this audit can be found summarized on page 6 of your exit packet. So just briefly, the purpose of an a federal grant compliance audit is to determine whether the city materially complied with the requirements of receiving federal funding. And we are pleased to report that we are issuing an unmodified or clean opinion on the city's compliance with federal grant requirements. We did issue this opinion in accordance with government auditing standards as well as uniform guidance, which requires that we gain an understanding of how the city's internal controls or your processes that you go through to ensure that federal grant requirements are met. And should we identify any weakness or concern that could or did result in significant noncompliance, we would be required to report those to you. And as noted on this slide, we did not report any significant deficiencies. However, we did note items that we consider to be material weaknesses, and we will discuss that later as this was issued in an audit finding. So to conduct these federal grant compliance audits, we select programs for audit based on requirements that are set by federal guidelines. And so in doing so, we selected the two programs listed on this slide. So that was the Emergency Rental Assistance Program and the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. And these programs represent approximately 63% of total federal expenditures for 2023. Are there any questions about the results of the federal grant compliance audit so far? Okay. All right, so as noted, we did issue an audit finding for the federal grant compliance audit as it relates to the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. And as a reminder, the full body of these audit findings are published in the audit report that's published on our website. And this finding can be found on page 8 of your handout. Well, I won't be reading directly from the finding. I'm just going to be walking you through the main points of it, and I'll open it up for questions at the end if there are any. So, as I mentioned, we determined that the city's internal controls were inadequate for ensuring compliance with federal suspension and debarment requirements. So for this requirement, when the city enters into a contract or makes purchases of $25,000 or more, it is required to perform procedures to verify that the contractor or the vendor is not suspended or debarred from participating in federal programs. And these procedures must be performed prior to actually expending the funds or awarding the contract to the vendor or the contractor. Now, the city does have established procedures in place to verify that contractors or vendors are not suspended or debarred normally. However, we did find 3 contracts during the audit that were new to 2023 that were paid to contractors for more than $25,000 where the suspension and debarment verification was not performed. A bit more about why this happened. So for 2 of the contracts, the city purchased vehicles and equipment using other government's contracts, which is called piggybacking, and the city staff relied on that government's suspension and debarment verification instead of performing their own, which is required by federal requirements. And then for another contract, the city purchased equipment without the initial intention of using federal funding, and the suspension and debarment verification was not performed at that time. And then later, when the city decided to use federal funding, the verification was not performed at that time either. So for these 3 contracts identified during the audit, the city paid approximately $3.6 million of federal funding. And without adequate internal controls, the city cannot ensure that it's not paying vendors that should not be participating in federal programs. And should this have occurred, the city might be required, or the federal granting agency could recover these funds from the city. However, we did identify for all 3 of the vendors that we found during the audit, none of them were suspended and debarred from participating in federal programs, which is why we're not questioning the costs. So our recommendation really follows the issues that were already discussed. So we recommend that the city strengthen its internal controls to ensure that it verifies that all contractors paid $25,000 or more, all or in part with federal funding, are not suspended or debarred. And then additionally, we recommend that the city establish a process to ensure it verifies the suspension and debarment requirements when using piggybacking as a type of procurement. Any questions before I move on about the federal audit finding? Okay. All right, so next couple slides are just some closing remarks. So our audit costs are approximately $35,000 less than we originally estimated. This is primarily due to really effective coordination between our staff and city staff, as well as city staff making every effort to provide us our documentation and our requests timely. Our next audit is an accountability audit, which will be performed starting in October of 2024, and the estimated cost for this can be found on page 2 of your handout. And then just a bit about the report publication. So we expect that the city's audit report will be published in the next 1 to 2 weeks. You can sign up at the link there on the slide or listed on page 2 of your packet to receive email notifications when this is published. Additionally, we're also going to be sending out a link to certain city staff that participated in the audit to complete an audit survey. We really do appreciate any and all feedback, good, bad, or indifferent, and we do our best to incorporate those recommendations to better suit the city's needs for future audits. And if you get this link and you'd like to forward it to somebody else who participated, feel free to do that as well. last slide. And then just lastly, we really want to thank our audit liaisons, Michelle Murray and Skylar Brown, for making every effort to provide us with the requested documentation and for making this a really efficient audit. Additionally, we'd also like to appreciate the city's professionalism during the audit and with everybody we interacted with at all levels of city staff. Any final questions?
Councilmember Cathcart.
Just wondering, you've obviously pointed out some deficiencies and whatnot, but is there an opportunity for our staff to reach out proactively and ask questions in advance of an audit to see if we're doing things appropriately?
We do have a help desk line that on our website that the entity can submit questions to, and we have specialists that would respond to those throughout, even when you're not being audited.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Once again, thank you all. And we'll be seeing you back again in a month or less.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Oh,
I
I'm
have
sorry,
I have a
Councilmember
question
Bingo.
for
One more question.
Michelle afterward, if that's
Okay.
good. I know.
All right.
It's easy.
All right, you all can sit. Michelle, come on down.
So just on the findings of us not on the suspension and debarment, are those things that we've implemented since, are those policies we've implemented since the finding?
Correct. So, yeah, I'll work with Jason Nikonoski. These two instances were the fire trucks and the police vehicles where things moved around really, really quickly.
Right.
And it just fell through the cracks. But no, we've got it on our radar.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, let's move on then to number 2, the establishment of a compost procurement. I think it's as exciting as it sounds.
Indeed. This is a pro forma compost procurement ordinance that the city is required to adopt per the organics management law that was adopted by the Ledge in 2022. Since 2020, state law has required state agencies and local governments to consider whether compost could be used in local projects. So the 2022 Organics Management Bill, it added the requirement for cities to officially adopt a compost procurement ordinance. And so we'll begin reporting that in 2025 to the Department of Ecology. And if we get this passed, we'll be in compliance, and this ordinance will satisfy that.
Councilmember Bingle, then Councilmember Cathcart.
How does this affect sort of the work we're doing at the Waste to Energy, specifically with organics?
That might be a Marlene or Chris Avert question. I don't see Chris.
We don't anticipate any impacts to our contract. We have a contract with Bartec to take our clean green materials that are collected curbside and also that are deposited at Waste to Energy on the tipping floor. That will continue to happen, and actually it just provides a way for there to be more market for the compost that's produced.
Cool.
Councilman Cathcart.
Yeah, a couple questions. Just in terms of the code here, it says, the city's not required to compost if products are not available within a reasonable period of time. How do we define a reasonable period of time? Distance from the project, what is the distance that it needs to be? What determines whether or not prices are reasonable or competitive or not competitive? If two people are competing, is that enough for competition, or is that still not competitive? Those are the questions that kind of go into my brain. And then I guess overall as well, it says there is and I appreciate that it is just inform. The city shall develop and implement strategies to inform. And I'm just wondering kind of what the plan is for that to either come back to council or just what the general plan is on that piece.
So on your
Adam, you might want to hold it. I think Jason might want to respond. Jason, do you want to respond to that first?
Sure. Good afternoon, Council President, council members. Adam, thanks for taking the run on this one. So, Councilmember Cathcart, I can answer your first question, and then Marlene will have to answer, or Chris Avert will have to answer the second communication. So, on the first, our language in the SMC mirrors what's in RCW. And so that's the tact we took just to make sure that we don't have any deviations from state and can make things as consistent as possible for possible providers in our region. As far as reasonableness goes, the general guidelines that are established is 10% delta. So whenever we're trying to buy something that meets any of the clean green standards, whether it's this compost or recyclability content in paper, general guidelines are if the clean green version is 10% or more, then the city would have the option to use the non-compliant version. So that's where that preference comes in. With regards to distance, there hasn't really been any established guidelines there yet. So we're still doing some research to see what would be an appropriate distance for deliverable. And then reasonableness for the project, that's going to be up to the project manager, but that's also going to be in conjunction with procurement to make sure that we aren't introducing some unintentional implicit bias. And in that regard, we are working on an admin policy to go along with these SMCs to help clarify some of those aspects, as well as finalize what our mechanism is for collecting all the data to meet our reporting requirements.
So I appreciate that, and that sounds generally pretty good. I'm wondering, will that be, you said an admin policy, but will it come back to us perhaps in the form of a public rule that we would approve?
Generally speaking, admin policies don't go to council, but we certainly could have you on the distribution so you can see that admin policy when it's finalized. At present time, because it's a procurement policy and practice, it's better to fit into one of our admin policies than as a public rule. But if downstream we start seeing where there's maybe some misunderstandings about that, then we can take a look at using the public rule aspect from the procurement side of it. So what we're going to do in the admin policy is make sure that we clarify what those specifications are going to be as a standard default for when we're buying compost or when any of the public works projects that we're working on are contractors that preference for using that compost. So I don't think it needs to go in a public rule, but we can certainly look at that.
Yeah, I just one last thought here. I appreciate that, and my sense is, hopefully we're getting some good feedback from the industry to know exactly what makes sense here. That would be the first thing. But if in fact we come back and we decide, well, the distance is 150, but the consensus is, well, actually it's 300. Suddenly now we're into policy making, and it feels like that should be in a public rule that comes back to us. So I just think, depending on how this sort of formulates, a public rule generally, in my mind, is something that we are approving, makes a lot more sense because there's more, it's just not done behind the scenes. It's done more in full view of the public, so.
Sure. No, appreciate it. Take it under advisement, and I'll review that with legal and team.
Councilmember Bingle.
On this ordinance, again, Jason, everything you said there made a lot of sense. Can we put that into like one of the recitals where it's like it sort of defines what reasonable or those kinds of things are? That way, if a member of the public is reading it, they can see that because, like I said, what you said made a lot of sense and could help clear some things up.
Sure, we can take a look at that, Councilmember Bingle, as far as doing a recital on that to share that information. Most of this isn't going to directly impact the citizens. Where they're going to be impacted is on the collection side, which is why I defer to Chris Abert on the communication strategy and that impact. But on the procurement side, it should be pretty easy. We're following most of our standard procurement rules. The other thing that I'm slightly tentative on is while this is about a year and a half old legislation and talking to our peers in other cities in the states, there's still a lot of information we're looking at for what is the industry capable of supporting, how is this policy really impacting, and so some of the vague language we're taking advantage of in the short term to really better understand what's the best approach for city projects and bouncing that off of our peers. I don't believe the county has to have the same ordinance, so that's also going to be interesting because we'll be the largest city in the area that has this ordinance. Most of our peers that we're going to be talking to are Tacoma, Seattle, things of that nature.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Adam. Next, we're going to have Marlene up for utility rate settings for 2025 and 2026.
Did you want me to address the noise ordinance thing first?
Oh, yes, could you?
Yeah.
If you
So that noise ordinance would make a couple of changes. Basically, it reduces the time for people to request a noise ordinance from 30 to 7 days because of a couple things that come up routinely as requests for noise ordinance variations. One is when they're working on a larger street like a major arterial like Division or Maple, and the question comes up whether they could maybe move some of that work to off hours outside of the AM and PM commute, so which might be outside of the noise ordinance window, and typically there would be a large public benefit to reducing the impact to the traveling public. The other circumstance is to deal with heat. So as we have more rules around when our own crews and when our contractors can work in extreme heat conditions, shifting some of the working hours outside the typical noise variance window might be a way to get projects still done timely, but outside of 95 and 100-degree days.
Thank you, Marlene. Any other questions about that? Councilmember Cathcart?
Yeah, I just think it'd be great if we could get to a point where we're able to do a lot more of the work, in those off hours to be able to get the projects done quicker and, build in some of that into the contracts and whatnot. But in the meantime, I mean, you're right. There's a big public benefit to being able to do that work. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Councilmember Sapone.
Yeah, I just had a question. Is there a difference when it's more residential versus more commercial area for those?
I mean, typically that's really the main consideration is what's the context. So if you're in the middle of Division Street, it's probably less problematic than if you were on a collector arterial running through, really kind of through more of a residential area. So context is very important there.
So would this ordinance apply? I guess it gives the Director of Public Works the authority to do
Right.
it.
This just gives us a little more flexibility to consider these circumstances, but we always look at that as where is the noise going to be happening? And, it's different if it's till 11 or 12 o'clock at night versus till 4 in the morning. You know what I mean? So we also look at that as well.
Great. Thank you for that. Go ahead.
So thank you, Jacoby, for down or up? All right, so we were here last month to talk about utility rates, and so we promised yet another presentation today, so we're going to go through sort of the next round of information for all of you. We always like to level set with our rate-setting principles, so simplicity and transparency, stability, sustainability, equity, and affordability. If you recall, our recommended approach supports vulnerable citizens through doubling our senior and disabled discount to $20 a month over the next 2 years, doubling that discount for low indoor water users to $10 a month over 2 years, our effort to keep water affordable, which limits the increase on the monthly base charge and doesn't increase the cost for the lower water use tiers. We're looking at maintaining affordability, keeping that representative residential bill below 5% for 25 and around 5% for 26. We'll have a little more details there. Encourage organics diversion and water conservation, so we'll have a financial incentive to use a smaller garbage cart with Clean Green. We'll enhance that Clean Green service by adding once a month pickup in the winter and place larger increases on higher water use to encourage conservation. This does also really support the financial stability and capital projects for our utilities. So we're going to manage those inflationary impacts that we've seen from the last several years. Remember, we also have those green bonds that need to be repaid through 2034. That's a burden of our water and wastewater utilities. And we talked about this last time, but we can't afford or realistically accomplish the full capital plan, so we've adjusted that because those rate increases were not acceptable to us. So what do we think is reasonable? Probably $20 to $30 million per water and wastewater utilities yearly. And then we're also looking to ensure each class of customer covers its own costs. I did share this information with your new financial person, Kate, who suggested this proposal summary slide, so I thought that was a great suggestion. So what we're looking at here is 2025, a 4.88% increase for the representative residential bill. That's a $7 a month increase over 2024. And for 2026, an increase of 5.47%, which is $8.40 over 2025. For commercial, we'll have a 7% increase for 2025. And in 2026, the percentages are the same as residential, but their bills can be vastly different, so it doesn't roll up necessarily to the same 5.47%, but it's 4.9% for any water and wastewater charge and 7% for solid waste. And there's those discounts doubled over the 2 years. So just to remember, this is how we've managed the consumption portion of the bill. The median use in the summer is 22 units per month. So what we're doing is incentivizing customers to stay at that 25 units or less. So you'll see that the cost in 2025 remains the same for those first 3 tiers of water use, and then goes up a little bit more for those upper tiers. We also limited the amount going to the base rate for water, another way to maintain affordability for our citizens. So that's going to go up about $0.25 a month for 2025. In 26, all these rates are going to go up that 4.9%. Here's the look at the carts, and I could do this. Those separations would go up a little bit with the 2026 rates as well. So here's how the 26 proposal works essentially. So you can see that our percent change for that representative bill, which includes 20 units of water or 15,000 gallons of water usage, which is really a summertime use, would go up 4.88% to $153. And then for 26, you can see those 4.9s across the board for water, wastewater, and 7 for solid waste. And here's what the bill itself looks like. Those are within the upper parts of the chart are the 2025 amounts, and then I've also rolled in the 26 number at the bottom. So this is with irrigation, and then in the wintertime, your bill would be less, right? So our median usage is about 7 units of water in the wintertime, which is less than $1 for water use. So you can see how that lifeline water use really remains affordable for citizens. So we wanted you to take a look at what that means financially for the water wastewater utility and then for the solid waste utility. So you can see 2023 is actuals, 2024 is budget, and 5 and 6 are the projections. So total revenues, you can see there, we're going up from $175 million in 2023 for water wastewater. ICM is included. Their revenues are water wastewater construction. And then you can see the operating expenses coming out of that. That does include the utility tax to both the state and to the city general fund. And then there's the debt service. So our operating surplus is about $15 million if you go out to 2026. And that's important. We'll take a look at what we need from a reserve level for operations and capital here in a second. I'm going to give you a blown-up picture of those operating targets for reserves, but you can see our total capital. And capital is important for us to note that we're seeing our reserves go down in 2024. That's by design. We saved some money. We have 3 tanks, if you recall, under construction right now. So we knew that we would see those reserves go down. And it's kind of our, we're going to see those go up and down as we have large projects planned. For example, right now we're starting a sinking fund to do the replacement of the membranes. We know the membrane facility at the wastewater treatment plant, those membranes will need to be replaced on a 10 to 12 year cycle. 12 years if we're lucky, 10 would be a typical time frame. So we're putting aside 1/10 of the money we think we'll need to replace those membranes every year, so it's not a large cost at the end. So that's why you'll see reserve levels for things like that will go up, and then we'll spend them down. And so you can see that our totals in reserves they were at a high at the end of 2023 at about $88 million. We have the intentional spend down in 2024 with those 3 tanks under construction. And then we're going to settle in around $60 million a year. And let's just take a look at the reserves. So what we're trying to do is go with an operating target of at least 3 months worth of expenses. That gets us in that $28, $29 million range. There's our capital target of $15 million for reserves, and then the debt reserve, so the amount we need on hand as we continue to service that green bond debt. So that puts us right in that ballpark. 2026, we're a little bit below our target, but we also know that we tend to be a little conservative on our spending, and so we're okay with that level. We're going to keep an eye on that, though, so we know if we have any challenges there. Here's a similar look at solid waste, and this is the disposal and collections portion of the solid waste utility combined. You can see the 2023 is actuals, 24 is budget, and 5 and 6 are projections. So this is with, by the way, the proposal that we've given to you included. And so you can see that We start to get a little bit of an operating surplus by 2026. We've just had to put a lot of investment into the solid waste utility. They've felt the impact probably more dramatically of the inflationary increases compared to the other utilities. And we still need to be investing in things like updating our fleet of trucks to keep costs down for repairs and maintenance. And then here's that cash flow, how it's moving to reserves. So to and from reserves, you can see in 2023, we had a major hit to reserves, which we talked about here. And then in '24, that yellow bar is the SIP loan that we brought to City Council for the trucks so that we could keep investing in those. And so then that cost is spread out. And you can see we start to get into a better financial position by the end of this 2-year period. And then totals and reserves, that middle restricted reserve is a required reserve line that we have to have for landfills, and it's a calculation that we have to do that's provided by the state. So we had to add more money this year to that reserve based on that formula. So that's something we keep an eye on. It's an untouchable reserve for landfill requirements. And then just understanding the risks of this approach, the pace of growth, these capital plans allow for moderate growth, but if rapid, intense growth, we might have to come and talk to you about something different. The pace of inflation, those inflationary costs seem to be leveling out, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Waste to energy and compliance with the Climate Commitment Act is an unknown at this point, so we're working on that from our legislative strategy, but something that we'll have to keep you posted on. And then also managing regulatory compliance, so things like PFAS and PCBs, but also mandatory organics collection, which is coming toward us at 2030. So those things are going to have to be managed within our rate structure. And here's how we're meeting the principles that we started with. Really, this does provide predictability through multiple year rate setting. We're smoothing those increases over time. For sustainability, we support water conservation, encourage people to separate their organics, enhance that clean green service with once-a-month pickup in the winter. We're going to double the discount for low indoor water use. Again, another way for people to save money and save water. And it does maintain that neighborhood cleanup program that we've really liked out in the neighborhoods. Stability, we're going to manage that financial risk and support appropriate reserve levels. Continue to invest in our utility infrastructure. That includes new things, but also maintaining what we have, right? So what's the asset management plan that we're continuing to work on so that we know that we have a robust replacement program. Remember, we have lots of 100-year-old pipes in the city, so we want to make sure that we're maintaining those and replacing them as they need to. We're going to support system resiliency and manage that debt repayment. On the affordability and equity side, it does double the discounts for our vulnerable citizens and low indoor water use, which often is smaller households, which can be a lot of our seniors as well. So we're going to limit increases for all utilities, limit annual increases. We're going to make sure that Lifeline water use remains affordable. And it also funds programs, just to remind you, we set up that program between the last time we did rate setting, which was the program to help people with long service line and private sewer repairs. So that is included in our proposal. I did want to point out one thing for us. These are really reasonable rates as we look at others. I noted that when Heather Rosentrader was named the head of Avista in the last week, that they mentioned how their rates are supposed to go up by the end of 2025. Their 3-year total represents a 37% increase for electricity alone. So compared to our same 3-year total would be at 13.25%. So I do think we're being really reasonable and responsible with those rate increases for citizens. I also noted that about a week or two ago, Snoqualmie had to approve a 42% increase in their garbage rate, and their neighbor in North Bend approved a 101% increase. So these, I'm not suggesting that that's anywhere near reasonable for what we would expect for our citizens, but it is the pressures that utilities are feeling. So with that.
Councilman Cathcart.
Just wondering if there's any steps we're taking internally to try best as possible to reduce the cost of operations.
You know, and we've been doing that all along. Obviously, when the largest inflationary increases, we were limiting our rate increases to 2.9%. And in fact, for 2024, water and wastewater got a 0% increase, while the utility tax was raised by 1%. So all of that had to be absorbed internally. So we've reduced positions. We've looked for new ways to contract. We updated our contract, our ILA last year, if you recall, with Spokane County to allow that to be a little more reflective of the current economic conditions. We did the ash disposal contract. We renewed that at a lower rate. We have our ongoing agreement with Avista that you approved a couple years ago that allows us to get a little more money out of the power sales from both the Upriver Dam and from Waste to Energy. We are continually looking at contracts to see where we might find cost savings. So absolutely, it's all part of the strategy.
Well, and then you mentioned the what used to be kind of the annual 2.9% increases. If you kind of split it, what we were proposing for 26, I mean, you're kind of in that ballpark. And so was there any consideration to splitting the increase in 26 between 25 and 26 and have a more gradual increase rather than jump into 4 point, whatever that was, to instead do like 2.5% each year or something like that?
I will say I asked Marlene about this rate, and I thought it was unreasonable, and she said, Council President, this is the more modest amount because the actual percentage increase should be almost,
11.6.
no, it was higher than that. You told me the amount, but the original amount was,
If we go back here, if we had done, we actually reduced the capital plan quite a bit. Where is it? So we were looking at 11.5% annually for 4 years, and then 2010 and 6 and 6 and wastewater. What we know is that inflation at a minimum outpaced our rate increases by 8%. So we're trying to make up for some of that. We still haven't made up for all of that with this proposal. I can show you the CPI is somewhere. So the operational side saw an 8% gap between CPI and our rate increases, and the construction inflation showed a 22% gap. And obviously, our water and wastewater and solid waste utilities are a combination of both of those things. So I think that we're trying to make that up. We don't know that we can go back to 2.9 in 27 yet. We're still evaluating all those things that need to
But I guess what
happen.
I'm asking is, instead of just taking 25 off, we already took 24 off, so why not just split the baby on 26 and spread that out over 25 and 26, and then you move into your 4-year after that? You're still raising the exact same amount of money. It's just gradual increase rather than a jump to almost 5% in 26.
We tried to be as reasonable as we could. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Councilmember Cathcart. I just don't think we can support the work that needs to be done with just that smaller increase.
So, but it'd be the exact same amount of money. I don't understand. Rather than flat in 25, you would increase 2.5.
Oh, no, we're not
and
flat
then
in
increase again in
25.
26. I thought you said we were taking 25 off.
No, that was in 2024. We took off for water and wastewater.
Okay, so you're
previously.
saying it's a 4 point for 25. So I misunderstood.
Yeah, let me go back to the,
And 26.
Oh,
sorry.
okay. Never mind then.
Can we
Oh,
go,
yeah. No,
go to slide 5?
That's that's definitely different than I thought.
So that's where we're at.
Councilmember Bingham.
Okay. So it's done.
Sorry, I wasn't tracking.
No, my
apologize.
mistake. I misheard what I thought you said. So.
I appreciate the reasonableness here. I do also, in the back of my mind, think about places like Flint, Michigan, and not wanting to fall into a great state of disrepair.
Of course.
And looking at the cities around us and everything like that with much greater increases, what are the risks of us not taking what we believe to be the necessary amount for us to maintain what we currently have?
Right. So, I mean, I think the risks are kind of what we just talked about, which, if we see substantial growth, if we see the need to catch up with a bunch of new regulatory requirements, that's the risks of this, and we'll have to come back and readjust based on those risks. We're trying to provide an affordable approach, a predictable approach, but that's not to say that world events can't make us have to come back and revisit with you.
I had a follow-up and I forgot it. I'll get it back in just a second if anybody else has a
Any other
question.
questions while Councilmember Bingo thinks about that? Councilmember
This
Sapone?
is on billing, but a little tangential. How do people sign up to get their bills emailed to them instead of mailed, physical mail?
They can either call us at 311, or there's a way to do it. You can sign up for an account with the city, and you can opt for just
There's a way to
electronic.
just opt for electronic only? 'Cause
Yes,
I think
yes.
a lot of people might still be getting it that don't want paper.
Yeah, and that does save us some money. So we would encourage people to go with electronic billing options. Absolutely. They can also do budget billing. So if they want to spread their costs over their 12 months, they can also call our 311 line, and utility billing folks will help them sign up for budget billing, similar to as you would with your Avista account.
Councilman Bingo?
This was not the question, separate one. So we reduced our capital planning in this plan right here. What are some of the projects? Can you give me an example of a project that got pulled out because?
You know, I mean, we didn't take anything out. We've spread it out so it's not so front heavy. So we're spreading out the projects, and we're still working on final 20-year plans and our final asset management plan. So those will all come forward for council to approve as we work through the comp plan updates and so forth. So we'll have, we're just really looking at how we can reasonably expect to get those projects out the door.
And so along those lines, because those are mostly going to be maintenance projects, I believe, because new development is going to require new infrastructure, and that should be largely funded by our GFCs. And so are any of those projects, projected growth projects, have any of those been eliminated?
At this time, we're working on probably some of our most needed projects for growth right now. The Thorpe tank, the twin tank up in the 195 area. The Marshall Road transmission main is another one. The SIA tank on the West Plains is another growth-related project. So those are the ones that, you know, have been the most immediate. We also need to look in some of our other areas. Indian Trail's another fast-growing area, so we're looking at water needs up there. The GFCs at this point will not cover the cost of those projects, but it will. We're reducing the reliance on rates for those kinds of new infrastructure projects.
Thank you. Any other questions for Marlene?
All right. Thank you all, and thank you to Kate for being my sounding board for this presentation.
Great. All right, arterial street maintenance, Clint.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council. So,
He's not complete.
that's not the right
Yeah.
one. All right, so we wanted to give an update on where we're at with arterial street maintenance. So what is maintenance? The street department usually spends about $5 million in arterial pavement repair annually, doing things like grind and overlay, chip seals, slurry and similar type surface treatments, and crack sealing, and of course potholes. So what we're really doing is delivering on the levy dollars that were committed in 2014 to focus on the arterials and to make improvements with them, and to integrate with the multimodal utilities, stormwater, where there's opportunities, and also with the residential strategy. So for 2024, these are the metrics that we have. We've committed to paving and grinding right around 128,000 square yards for the year, which we've already hit those limits because of the good weather and the successful year so far. Crack sealing, we've done arterial and local access crack seal, and so those are good metrics for that as well. Pavement ratings. I didn't put the pictures in the slide deck this time, but you may remember from past presentations that 100 PCI rating is a perfect street, and 0 would be a real bad street. So our ratings for the arterial streets are averaging right around 66 is where we're at. So if you think about all the work that's going on this year, we've had a lot of major arterials that were in poor condition. You could take Lincoln Road, Magnesium, Holland, Koza, 29th, many streets in the city were not in a good condition. So by the end of the year, we would expect to see a big jump in the PCI rating. So this is by its functional class, a breakdown of which one. So you do see the lower rating of a 62 as an example on one of the minor collectors because it's not focused on as heavy as a main or a major arterial. So what's new this year? In past years, we've tried some surface sealing on some of the streets. We did one in the south and one in the northwest districts. This year, we went to the northeast district and we worked on a fog seal, basically between Division and Crestline. So we were able to do 3 lane miles. The street was first crack sealed. And it was a good street to start with, and that's the picture of it, of course. The fog sealing turned out to be where the cost with the crack sealing was right around $5 a square yard. Just as a comparison, for a grind and overlay, that cost is about $28 a square yard. So it's a pretty big delta.
For us lay people, just a brief explanation of a fog seal.
Fog seal is just spraying, it's a emulsified asphalt that is meant to seal the surface. So it's meant to seal the surface of the street and to prohibit or slow down the degradation of the oxidizing of the pavement is what it's doing. So it's.
And what road was that from Division to Crestline?
That was Bridgeport.
Bridgeport, thank you. That's
Yeah, so it's a good street that we just wanted to, keep it good for a while, and so that's what we tried. We'll see how well it works, but for being able to do the work in 2 days, very small impact to the public, just was an inconvenience for them on parking, but at the end of the day, it is a much better tool for us to use if it works. That's really what the focus of maintenance is trying to keep the good streets good and to do it at a cost that allows us to do even more streets.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
How long does that last?
Well, we're hoping to get 5 years out of it, but that's what the trial's about.
Yeah, how many streets have had that done already?
What's that?
How many streets have had that done already?
Just that one. We've used a fog seal. It goes over the top of chip sealing is where they use it more predominantly. But this is the first street that we've exclusively done as a fog seal that I'm aware of. So we'll monitor it and see how it goes. So we wanted to give a review of how things are progressing. So from 2018, and this is a busy map for sure, but since 2018, this is the work that has been going on in the city, not just with street maintenance projects, but through the Arterial Street Fund. So these are capital projects that have been done as well. So you can see the different corridors and linkages that have been planned out and that have been executed through the city. What it equates to is roughly around 89 miles or 260 lane miles. So if we've got 763 lane miles in the city, so in 6 years we've been able to do roughly, a third or 34% of the city. So these are the completed and planned projects for 2025, and it made it for an even busier map, but you can see the continuing work to connect up with what's already been done and to continue working in those corridors as we look at the streets that need to be done. We did break it out into projects by district, so this is the Northeast District for what's been completed as well as the planned, and the Northwest, and the South. So a lot of good work. This is the planned 2025 projects separated on a map, so you can see those. The light blue is surface treatment or crack seals, and then the dark red are the grind and overlays that are going to go on.
Is there a planned project for Lincoln east of Nevada?
There is.
Is it up in there? Was that on there? I missed it.
Yes. It's red.
Red, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so this is just the list of streets that have been done. As you look at the information, it's got the information for what type of work it is in the left column. Remember, I talked about PCI ratings. That's in the middle of the chart there. The worse, the lower the number, the worse the street is. And that's what we always try to focus on, is to bring the worst streets forward to be able to do work to. So the bottom chart is the arterial maintenance projects, and similar with that. And there's the 2026 projects that are separated out. As well as the list of projects. And then there's all the planned projects for the 6-year plan for the next 6 years. We didn't list them out, but I can provide that if you want to see them. Any questions?
Excellent, but you will be coming back about snow removal soon, won't you, Clint?
Oh, man, you're using that word already, huh?
Yeah, we got to talk about it.
We're starting to see it in the weather, so yeah, it'll be soon.
All right.
I'll just, if I could, quick statement. So there's been a number of projects up, in our district, and my son loves all the big equipment and everything like that. And we often stop and just watch, and all the crews have been incredibly inviting, incredibly good to my son and to the others around them. And so kudos to you and your team, because, people like to watch, and, they haven't been irritable or anything like that. They've been very forthcoming, so
That's good.
appreciate
to
it,
hear.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are going to wrap up our meeting with the update on the Complete Streets Bike and Ped Plan.
Are we skipping copper?
Oh, let's not skip. Let's get the right glasses on. So let's go to the purchase of copper first. Lauren thought he was getting off easy today. You were happy, weren't you?
Good afternoon, Council. This is a purchase of copper pipe for the water services. This was competitively bid and is awarded to Ferguson Waterworks, a total of $98,377. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I had asked to elevate this, and really just quickly, one of the reasons, and I'd asked Marlene earlier, what are the things we're doing to try to save money on operations and things internally? And I'm wondering, to what extent are we looking at alternatives to a lot of the things we use, such as copper pipe? Are we looking at PVC, PEX, poly, substantial cost savings? Our soil type generally allows it. And I'm just wondering, to what extent are we looking at that for the potential of cost savings? Do we have anybody who's, are we experimenting? Are we doing anything like that to try to find those cost savings?
We do look at pipe materials for different projects. We generally stick with copper pipe. Copper has a proven track record to last 100 years. We have several services out there that are 140 years old now. We're the ones that will have to fix that in the future. The current price of copper for 1-inch copper, it runs about $350 for the copper pipe for a house. There is a cost there. That to replace that service in the future, just to do the dig on it alone is going to cost us $15,000. Sure. So one leak on that does pay for that extra saving, extra amount that we're paying in the copper. We also do have some areas that copper is not good for. And there's a couple of areas where we have started putting in HDPE pipe because it gets too close to the gas lines and it's corroding out. We also do allow all homeowners, contractors on property to run HDPE to reduce their costs. That's the side that the city is not financially liable for repairing in the future.
No, I was very involved in that discussion when that came about 11 years ago. But I guess what I'm wondering, though, is, even with water mains, we can replace water mains or use alternative materials for water mains that are a lot less costly, easier to install, less damage to the roadways to get them in. And a lot of major cities use them, Calgary to DC. And I'm just wondering, have we, and I'm not suggesting that tomorrow we change, but have we just substantially looked at that as an option and ruled it out that no, that does not work in Spokane, and we should keep doing the way we've always been doing it?
Yes, we do. We do look at that, and I'm a proponent of the best for the project. And there are projects that we have used PVC pipes on because of the conditions there. That was a better material than the ductile iron or the copper was.
Okay, I appreciate it. I just think this is one area where obviously changing science, changing technologies, changing a lot of things, but even with materials that have been around for a while, I think that there are opportunities to find cost savings, thinking a little bit more outside the box perhaps than we traditionally do, but just doing our due diligence to make sure that we are providing the best value for the ratepayers and taxpayers. So,
Yes, very much understand.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Lauren? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Marlene and Colin on the Complete Streets Bike and Ped Plan.
And Tyler Kimbrell, too.
Oh,
It's a triumvirate. Yep, that's the one. Okay, so I'm just going to do the first couple slides and leave it to the experts here. Down. So this is actually Colin's graph, which really just says, if right place, right infrastructure, right place, right? So within shorter distance trips, if there's the appropriate facilities in place, people will choose to walk and bike. So that's kind of the inspiration for Complete Streets. Council did approve, city
Sorry,
approved.
quick question on that. So I see that data is 20 years old. And can I have somebody describe to me that model right there?
Yeah, this is after, this is from the Netherlands, and this is after they spent 20 years investing in safe, protected bicycle infrastructure. And so this is kind of the proof is in the pudding. After 20 years of doing this and making complete networks, what they found is that for short trips under 1.5 miles, if there are safe facilities present, up to 40 or 50% of the population will walk and bike. And so that, I include that to show the delta of where we are now and what's possible if a complete safe network is provided. And so that gives an indication of what is possible. Over 50% of trips in the US are less than 1 mile. And so there is a big proportion of trips in the US, in Spokane, that are very short trips that could be done walking and biking if there were the appropriate facilities. Right now, there are a lot of places where our network breaks down, which is why we're doing the Complete Streets. So this is justification, like Marlene said, of why we're doing this, and I'll get more into that in my section.
Okay. And I have no doubt of that, but I would imagine that in the last 20 years, there's been an update of, either even better or remaining the same or something worse. Is there any way we could get something like that that's not?
Yeah, I can send
20
that to you.
years old?
Yeah, the reason I chose this is that was when their network became complete. Yeah. It's only gone up since then. Over 40% of trips in some places are done walking and biking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we just wanted to go over what the ordinance says. So the Complete Street Ordinance is in Chapter 17 of the code. And it says that all street projects shall include complete street elements as called for in the master bike plan and the pedestrian plan, which is why Tyler and Colin are going to go over those elements. The implementation of complete street elements will utilize the latest and best design criteria, and the design of various complete streets components to be implemented shall be based on a context-sensitive approach. Street project means the construction, reconstruction, retrofit, maintenance, alteration, or repair of any street. If safety and convenience can be improved within the scope of pavement resurfacing such as grind and overlay and restriping, such projects shall implement complete streets. So what does that really mean? Implementation is really envisioned to happen over time. As streets are maintained or rebuilt, we add bike and pedestrian elements as part of grind and overlay projects and chip seal. Chip seal mostly happens in the residential areas, by the way, so there's not always striping associated with chip seal. And we upgrade and add ADA ramps along grind and overlay projects. Obviously, we also apply for grants to address missing sidewalk and priority bicycle and pedestrian projects, and then incorporate transit elements as appropriate. SMC does provide a little bit of extra guidance. Grind and overlay is just supposed to include striping elements, and minor work like sweeping or pothole repair, crack sealing obviously doesn't include complete street elements. Also, the SMC allows, if the cost is disproportionate to the cost of the overall project, complete street elements can be limited, and it defines disproportionate at more than 20%. And now, Colin.
All right, I'll talk about the bicycle master plan and the pedestrian master plan. Our bicycle master plan was first the most recent version was adopted in 2017. We've made about a dozen amendments to it since that time in the last 5 years, mostly upgrading facility types from like a bike-friendly route to a planned neighborhood greenway, or from a bike lane to a shared use path. But it's largely similar to what it was in 2017. It included 20 miles of planned neighborhood greenways, which are low-speed, low-volume neighborhood streets with intersection improvements to make it safe and easy to cross at the arterials. We have 113 miles of bike lanes planned, and so that doesn't differentiate between striped, protected, the type of bike lane, and then 85 miles of shared use paths in the plan. Going back to the vision of what our community adopted in 2017, the idea is that riding a bicycle is comfortable and integral part of daily life in Spokane for people of all ages and abilities, which indicates those higher level facilities like shared use paths, neighborhood greenways. And we keep going back to this is because this is what the community agreed on as our goal for Spokane, and that's what we're pursuing through Complete Streets. In terms of hard numbers, how do we measure if we're making progress? Our goal is to get to a mode share as measured in the American Community Survey of 2.1% by bicycle. Currently, we're at 0.7%, and an overall ridership of 4%. So that includes all trips, not just commute to work. So as far as how we're doing, we're about halfway there. We have 14 years left, and we're about halfway through the plan right now. We're about 50% complete, but it varies by facility type. We're behind on neighborhood greenways. We're about on track with bike lanes, standard stripe bike lanes, and we're pretty far ahead of schedule with shared use paths. So you can think of all the shared use paths that have been built in the past few years: Garland Avenue Pathway, Sunset Boulevard, the Centennial Trail, Summit Gap, the Pettit Drive. There's been a fair number of shared use paths, so we can feel pretty good about how we're doing on shared use paths. Very good, actually. As far as the pedestrian master plan goes, it has a similar vision of providing a connected, equitable, and complete pedestrian network between centers and corridors and within pedestrian priority zones. And the pedestrian priority zones are pretty important. This was done through a GIS analysis, looking at locations in our city that were underserved by sidewalks, but that also had a high concentration of destinations like libraries, schools, parks that people are trying to get to. And so those are priority zones, and you can see it extend throughout the city. As you get into, there's a online pedestrian master plan tool that you can dive into, and it's really interesting to get in there and look at the conditions. You can see our missing sidewalks in that viewer. You can see our pedestrian demand score for every street connection in that viewer, and you can see a pedestrian deficiency score as well. Our sidewalk layer is kept up to date by viewing aerial photography, so it's up to date currently as far as what's there and what's not there. What needs to be updated is the condition of all those sidewalks. So we know what's new, but we don't, for those older sidewalk segments, we don't know how good or bad they are. So that needs to be updated. In 2021, Inga Note from Integrated Capital Management led a process to update our street design standards, and that included an update of our bikeway design standards. And as part of this, there are a couple of key things to look at. Sidewalk widths by zone, so this is all by land use. sidewalk width by zone, buffer width by zone, curb extension length by zone, also bike lane width and buffer width by zone. And we also adopted this standard recommended by the Federal Highway Administration that indicates by speed and volume what facility type is recommended. So over 7,000 cars per day, over 35 miles per hour, you want more separation. Under that, neighborhood greenways are an option, and neighborhood or shared use paths above that also. So neighborhood greenways figure into that in that kind of white zone. So this can kind of put us in a challenging situation in some cases where we have a complete street project going, we have funding to do striping, but what's called for is for a higher level facility. And so that's when we get into the trade-offs of what to provide in that situation. We've tried it on locations with higher volumes, numerous traffic lanes, higher speeds, and what we've heard from the community and from the Bicycle Advisory Board is that sticking a white stripe down on those higher volume streets doesn't quite provide that level of protection that they're looking for, but it also requires more resources to do that on a bigger scale. And so that's one thing we're grappling with, and for that reason, go ahead.
I was just going to ask on your last slide. I'll let you finish your statement here because I have a question on the last slide. Yeah. So on this one right here, you were talking about the state of repair or disrepair for the sidewalks throughout the city, and you said we don't currently know what's in disrepair throughout the city. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. So this sidewalk condition analysis was 2015, and Marlene will talk more about it towards the end of this presentation, but it's due for an update as far as looking at condition.
Okay, so I have a question on this. So, Clint, I know that you and your team, you guys have the cameras that go through on the streets, and I thought at one point we had talked about how they could also include the sidewalks. Am I wrong on that? They can, and we do that annually, right? Is that something we could annually update as well? No? Sorry.
Do you want to talk about it?
All that program will do is detect where there's no sidewalk. It won't detect the condition.
Gotcha.
There's other companies that do that, but it's a lot more of a program for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
This is a good transition point anyway, because in looking at our design standards and how and when and where and how we get the resources to provide those higher level facilities, we decided to undertake a study called the Bicycle Priority Network Study, and that gives us more information about what are those high priority routes. So I'm going to hand it off to Tyler Kimbrell here to talk about that study.
Thanks, Colin. So yeah, the Bicycle Priority Network, essentially what this does is take our current bicycle master plan and streamlines it and shows us where those priorities are within our network to get people to where they want to go. And it also uses those FHWA guidelines to assess the vehicle volume versus speed, what is appropriate facility type to implement on specific streets. It also identifies gaps in our network and what this does is ensures that, again, people can get to where they want to go, whether it's school, groceries, or health services. It also considers a range of prioritization criteria. So whereas our bicycle master plan really identifies a facility type for every street, this says, no, we need to know where people want to go, where they want to access services, what neighborhoods and areas are really lacking in infrastructure generally, and so it prioritizes those communities and neighborhoods based on a set of criteria. Here's a project overview. Again, it's identifying that spine network for the city, whereas the bicycle master plan map really identifies numerous routes. This streamlines it and will help us as staff prioritize projects going forward. It uses quantitative and qualitative factors for prioritizing these routes, things like equity data, how many street trees are on specific routes, income levels in areas, and then access to services and number of services in various communities. It also provides us guidance on developing a future network. So if the city were to develop a new suburb or area, it allows us to essentially replicate what the consultant has produced for us so that we don't have to hire a consultant later down the line. Work complete to date. This project started essentially in January 2024, and we're nearly across the finish line. The final map has been produced, along with the help of over 500 comments on an online survey, and a map survey specifically where people could drop pins and tell us what they thought of a specific route, or if there's any details about that route that we should be aware of. We again have that draft it's now finalized prioritization criteria, and then again a final draft published network map. Our network goals, which were established at the beginning of the process with an advisory committee or safety, comfort, connectivity, feasibility, equity, and sustainability, and these are all supported by those quantitative and qualitative data points that I showed earlier. Quickly going through kind of what those quantitative process looks like. It's access to destination and really essentially the directness to those destinations, equity, data from the Climate and Environmental Justice Screening Tool, which will allow us to apply for grants more competitively moving forward. Safety, so avoiding high-frequency freight and transit routes because a lot of times big trucks and people walking and biking don't mix. User experience, are there enough street trees and is there enough lighting for you and your kid or whoever to safely ride those streets at night? And then route directness, again, a very major part of this because people want to be able to get where they're going quickly. Some qualitative evaluation, so this really is as staff, bicycle advisory board, and community look and say, does this route actually work? Is the topography too steep in order to, would I have to climb a hill to get to work and therefore be sweaty when I arrive? And then, again, network connectivity, is it getting me to where I want to go? And then, again, from the staff side, feasibility, is the right-of-way width just too narrow to do anything with that street? Are there any questions on this part specifically? I have a few next steps.
Continue.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
So the idea is that we take this as the Transportation Commission gets up and running. This would be one of the first items that they could take a look at and weigh in on. And then it would be adopted eventually. City Council would look at it, adopted eventually as part of the comprehensive plan update process that's coming up. So adaptive design and quick build is another key part of this discussion. Looking at this big network of priority routes, how do we actually get them done in a timely manner so that we aren't potentially waiting until 2037? I know there's a lot of interest in establishing a backbone of connected routes earlier than that. And so adaptive and quick build is one strategy to do that. So this year we had our first considerable project. We had a 2-week project in 2019 out on Spokane Falls Boulevard that tested out a 2-way protected bike lane. This one's substantially longer. It's out for a few months, probably longer, of a protected bike lane with street seating. But then also 3 quick build projects across the council districts. They're currently being designed and ready to be built. And so those are tests, but now we're at the phase where we've kind of tested a few initial things. Now we need a game plan for how we're going to do this more regularly. What's phase 1 look like? What can we do in the first 2 years? What can we do in the first 5 years? What are the standards as how we're going to do that consistently? And what are the resources and teams and tools we need to get that done? So that's kind of in the works right now is coming up with a game plan to do this in a consistent way. Just some quick examples of how our bike infrastructure is improving gradually with each of these projects. Riverside Avenue, of course, was our first downtown protected bike lane. Illinois Avenue was a significant step forward with that concrete barrier separating the facility from traffic. And then going forward, we have concepts that are more involved at the intersections, which are really where most of the safety issues are happening. And so this example here at Chestnut and Broadway and West Central is a good one because it's being tested for quick build installation this year with the quick build design. So the idea is we can take some of these more elaborate concepts and move on them quicker to have a more immediate impact. So I'll leave off there and hand it to Marlene to finish the presentation.
So last month, we did go through the list of projects, but just to remember that we have a lot of work in the pedestrian and bicycle space through 2026-7 here. And then, so we're looking to update the sidewalk inventory. As Clint mentioned, what we have, the technology that we use for pavement ratings on the streets doesn't translate well to the sidewalks, but we're looking at maybe updating the inventory to make sure that we haven't missed anything in the GIS layer. And then we're also looking and poking on whether we can get any kind of qualitative measure of the sidewalks. And then we are working on the sidewalk repair pilot program. Council passed a resolution this summer, and we expect to have a presentation on that at October PIES. And that's it.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I just, maybe a little conversation on the data goals. So obviously, Councilmember Bingle brought up the data points and, 05 being from the Netherlands. But I'm wondering, how did we set our goals? How did we decide and I'm not sure, maybe SCA was involved on the transit piece, but specifically for the biking, how did we decide on 2% by 2037? And in particular, I'm asking that because we're saying that after the Netherlands completed their system, they had a, 40 to 50% user base, and we're going to be halfway, and our goal is 2%. Now, obviously, there's a huge cultural difference between Europe and America, and so wondering how we set those goals, and then I'm also wondering, have we looked at other cities in North America, in the United States, that have done this to see what the numbers, in kind of our part of the world are more realistically looking like?
Yeah, so our plan anticipated striped bike lanes. So in 2017, that was what we were anticipating. And with a fully striped bike lane network, that's what we're seeing in other cities. They're achieving in that 2 to 4% range. So with a connected striped facility network, you can get to 2 to 4%. Another example would be Portland, which has a completed network that has a substantial portion now that's hardened with protected facilities, and they're up in like the 8% range. So it kind of fluctuates between 6 and 8%. So as you start getting more protected facilities in, that bumps up. Then you look at some place like Boulder, Colorado, which has a substantial number of shared use pathways, a complete network of shared use pathways that are off street. They're at 13%. And then you look at some place like Davis, California, which has both. They have protected bike lanes and shared use pathways, both full networks that have been under development since the 1970s, and they're at about 20%. So in North American context, I mean, you can get fairly high. It does has taken them decades to get there since early 1970s. And so that's kind of the range you see, for what we were looking at in 2017, 2.1% was still a tripling of where we were at.
Gotcha. And then just one quick, so I know you and I have talked a number of times about bike meters, and I'm really excited to have those in place. And so you said that there's a few that are movable, and then we've talked about getting a couple permanent ones for where we have the protected bike lanes. And so do you know where we're at, where we are on kind of all that?
Yeah, so we have our first portable one, and so we're going to be testing that out this fall. We have all the equipment we need to install it, and that can go out right away. Looking at ordering more of those, it's more a question of the wheel share budget, because that's the budget we use to buy these things. And so we're taking on maintenance of existing permanent counters. There's about 8 of them out there, including places like Spokane Falls Boulevard downtown, Fish Lake Trail, Centennial Trail. So there's a network of 8 of them out there, but we need to account for maintenance. So we're taking the maintenance on for those. And then I think the plan moving forward for more permanent counters, we still need to cost that out for what it takes to go back and reinstall those. But going forward, we can look at things like including that in project costs in the future.
I'd like to put all that as a consideration for traffic calming, because I think that, especially as we're talking more and more about doing these projects through traffic calming, I think we should be collecting that data, and so having these would be really important. So I can't speak for the others on traffic calming, but I think that'd be a way to fund it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to Councilmember Dillon, who's, I believe, on that committee, can speak for himself, and then Councilmember Bingle.
Agree. So make it easy, but yeah. Thank you for this. It's exciting to see a lot of these projects moving forward, and a lot of these ideas kind of come to fruition. I'm curious, you mentioned the survey responses on the shaping of the bike master plan, and I'm curious, when you bring up an example like the work that's been done on Howard Street, which I think is awesome, but what does that look like for getting user feedback kind of post project? And so that might be something that I'm kind of missing, because to me, that seems like a way, I think, to Councilmember Cathcart's concerns about goals and kind of metrics, but also getting some of that real-time feedback, especially when we are piloting things.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. We do have a survey live about that project. It hasn't been distributed widely yet, but I can send you the link. If you look up adaptive street design, city webpage, there's a new website there that explains that project a little bit better, and there's a survey link. And we printed up a bunch of QR codes to put on each of the tables out there so people can scan their phone and go take the survey. So I think that's a really important piece. It's not just the data, and I think that's an ideal place to put that first portable tube counter, just to see, even compare between now and next spring, what the use looks like. But yeah, I think you're right that the user feedback of each of those projects will be really valuable.
Councilmember Bingham.
Yeah, and forgive
Councilmember
my
Klitzky.
ignorance here. You're going to find out I don't ride a bike. So in the ways that like cars have to be registered and pay certain taxes and excise fees, things like that to help pay for the infrastructure, do we have anything like that in Washington State when it comes to bicycles, if we're wanting that to be somebody's primary or preferred method of transportation? Do we have any registration fees or registration requirements to help build the infrastructure that they'll be using?
No, we don't have a registration fee. We do have a registration system through the Spokane Police Department, so you can register your bike serial number and get it in their registry so that it can be recovered if it's stolen. But as far as user fees, most people who ride a bike also drive a car, so they're paying those road fees through gas tax and through property tax, because honestly, a lot of our roadway system is funded through property taxes. And so even if they don't drive a car, most people in the city who own property are paying for our roads through their property taxes.
Right, and when it comes to the roads, but if we're building these separate pathways and things like that, would that make any sense for us? Because, particularly I see with the rise of like e-bikes and things like that, where it could be somebody's primary mode of transportation, would it make sense of some kind to attach a fee to that to pay for these pathways?
I would argue that it's saving us money to get people on bikes because it's reducing the wear and tear on the roadway system. It's one less car for each trip on a bike is one less car with studs or winter tires or just throughout the season having wear and tear on our roadways. It's also making our streets safer. It's one less car out there potentially posing dangers. So this is my take. Inserting opinion here, but it has been shown that overall each trip on a bike does save the city money. So it saves communities money, the more people who are riding bikes.
Councilmember Klitzky.
So most of our entire transportation system in the city of Spokane is paid for by sales tax and property taxes. Gas tax pays for our highway system. And of course, everybody who's using the highways in some kind of motor vehicle, so they're paying for that. But my question was, we have these different goals that we're looking at for our investments in the complete street system. And I'm wondering, it is kind of survey dependent how much we know about mode share, whether it's somebody answered a census or somebody answered one of the many WSDOT surveys that we get, and we know that people that are like refugees and other minority communities that have language barriers also often don't have driver's licenses. So I think that because we don't have great information on mode share that we can really rely on, we might want to also factor safety and target zero goals into these goal setting metrics, because although our traffic safety data is also muddy, we can, when we do these quick builds, do better evaluations on traffic. We saw several examples of quick builds at the conference last week where the changes were monitored after they were built. Some of them were only up for a week or 2 weeks, but they were monitored either with cameras or with volunteers or staff members watching the intersections and keeping track of the near misses and the changes in behavior that those modifications gave. So having a safety metric in there would be helpful, especially when I think we have goals beyond mode share. We have goals of safety and freedom for all of our citizens to use the mode of their choice safely.
Councilmember Cathcart?
Yeah, on that note, the last few days, I've really noticed just how bad traffic has been, and I think 99% of it's the result of the market construction. And it really made me think and ponder, are we collecting data related to how people are rerouting and detouring? Because I think it is informative of, potential future changes to our transportation system and how that might affect, things downstream. And so I don't know that we are, but I really hope that we're trying the best we can to collect that data so that we can be better informed with those future decisions. And then one other thing I was going to say is the very first screen was that picture of Howard with the barriers there. And I think it's the very, very first one. Anyway, you said that, and you kind of answered my question because you said it's temporary. I had thought that was there now as more of a permanent, adaptive, but a more permanent situation. I'm hoping, or I'm wondering, if this was to remain permanent, would there be a plan then to paint those? Because they look really ugly.
Yeah, actually, it's in the works already.
Okay.
We were just talking in the back row here with Annie about their contract with Spokane Arts for street murals. And so we factored that in to that program and have been talking with Spokane Arts about getting those painted. So that's,
okay, great. Yeah, even like just a solid color would be a vast improvement. So
yeah.
That's great.
Councilmember Zepone, and
Yeah.
then we're going to be moving on here.
Yeah, thank you all for all of this information and updates. It's great. I think you can see how passionate council is and excited about these types of changes in our community. I know in the Complete Streets Ordinance, Marlene, you and I talked about this. It does say that there will be performance measures monitored by council and annually reported to council. So I was wondering if we can have a follow-up to create those. And then just to comment about a lot of these projects, I think often we're letting the perfect get in the way of the good. And I hear like lots of creating standards, and it feels like that could be preventing us from taking opportunities of trying new things rather than making sure it's the exact perfect thing at the time. So I just want to encourage us to take those risks.
Yeah, and on your previous point, Dan has one of our new EITs looking through projects to be able to see what might be kind of some metrics that we could use going forward. Obviously, implementation of the bike and ped plan is probably the most important elements to look at the downstream, but we can also look at how our construction projects are contributing to that. So a lot of the bike stripe, I mean, Clint showed you all the streets he's touched in the last 5 years earlier, and a lot of the stripes that have happened were the result of those grind and overlay projects that the street department has done. So our progress, particularly on new striped bike lanes, is the result of that program. So that's a good way. Another thing that we could be measuring, as well as the overall impact to implementation of the bike and pedestrian plans.
My quick follow-up on the striping is, do we have a priority between, if the right-of-way is so wide, but it's not perfectly fitting the design standards for vehicle traffic or bike, so say it's 20 feet, do we give a priority to bike or to vehicles about which one's going to get the wider striping in that case?
I'd have to ask, but it does go through review. I know that Colin reviews a lot of that. Gerald Okahara in Street Department is looking at that a lot. So they're trying to allocate the space appropriately. But I don't specifically know what their decision points are. Councilmember, we certainly can look at.
Deferring to keeping the travel lane as narrow as possible.
All right.
All right.
Councilmember Bingham. then
Can
we're
you
going to
explain
our
that a little
reports.
bit more, I guess? Because, I mean, just looking at the size of a car versus the size of a bike, can you explain that? Just yeah.
I can explain
Okay.
that. So the theory is, of course, you don't want bicycles right next to cars when they're moving at high speeds. And when you design a road with very wide lanes, cars drive faster. So it's not to give the cars less space, it's to psychologically control the behavior of the cars. When you have a long, straight roadway and you have wide lanes, people will just drive faster. I even do it myself. But if there's curves or if there's narrower lanes, even if it's just paint, people will slow down.
And it's not smaller than the standard. There is a standard. But like we repainted Maple Ash, and those streets are incredibly wide now. Where before, if they just had a stripe, that would make it feel narrower and people would slow down.
Yeah, no, I don't have any problem with that. What I thought you were saying was make the bike lanes wider than the car lanes.
No, I'm saying which one are we going to give more space to? So are we going to keep the travel lane at 11 feet and make the bike lane 9 feet? Or are we going to make the bike lane 6 feet and make the travel lane 13, 14 feet? Which one are we deferring to giving more space to when it doesn't fit perfectly between the two?
Okay.
Yeah, and there's other things like that Inga looks at in terms of if the bike lane gets too wide, it could start to look like a car lane, and so that can be problematic as well. So then they look at the protected pieces and those kinds of things. So there is allocating
protection,
space.
that
Yeah,
physical
but
barriers
then
we
there's
can
room
add.
for something else potentially. Yeah, so a double stripe, for example, between those. So there's different things, and I don't know all those answers.
Marlene, thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to have some quick reports out, if there's any, from staff. Any staff reports? And you can certainly can say none.
No, that's okay. I just have 3 really quick things. I'm going to be coming before you with Transportation Commission, or Transportation Commission will be coming before you. It's just being deferred, but still on track to have its first meeting in October. And then I'll also be coming before you with 2 amendments to the ordinance establishing the Transportation Commission, one on behalf of the Community Assembly, and the other one, Chris nerded out on some code and found a Citizens Streets Advisory Committee that also needs to get repealed. And then lastly, the traffic calming ordinance will be coming before you as well. That's it for me. Thank you.
Anything else? Any other committee reports? Well, I'll just start with S3R3. So we are in progress of continuing the wetland mitigation projects, as well as we're doing a transportation study. We will be coming before council the agreement with ARPA and the county for the amendment with the city of Spokane, the international airport. S3R3 is working on a new procurement policy that is being updated. And finally, the city and county new construction sales tax has been fully resolved, which I know there was an issue, but it has been fully resolved, and new standard operating procedures are being written. One comment that Commissioner French made that was an asset to our region, he stated that within an hour of Spokane, there are approximately 72,000 graduate students providing an educated workforce. So our universities, Idaho, that area. So something, I thought that was a pretty interesting tidbit that he came up with. We probably got a lot on traffic calming. Is there anything else on traffic calming?
What was the top one? Sustainability Action
Traffic
Subcommittee?
calming?
Hasn't met yet.
Okay.
Traffic calming, man, we got updates about,
different name.
from police about expanding cameras. They're looking at expanding up to 3 more this year, but we have a capacity problem still with personnel be able to give citations or review cameras. And so we're continuing to work on that. And there's been discussion too with the administration about prioritizing photo red versus speed zones, and we have no cameras up along hospitals and parks, and previous council passed a resolution creating the priority for speed. This council has not taken a formal action on that, but we're having some robust conversations about where the priority should be for these new cameras without an expansion.
On the airport board, I will tell you that our first report on PFAS is being released. As you know, there's lots of concerns going on that, so that will be made available. It'll be online. We can also ask the airport, Mr. Crow, to come back and give us a little update in more detail about that.
Broadlink, no real updates since the update that we all got from Arian at the Finance Committee meeting.
Andy Dunow, who is the staff person associated with the salmon restoration lead entity, has announced his retirement. So there's a person named Happy, I'm told, taking over. So waiting for a meeting to form on that issue. And there's been no meetings of solid waste. And I think I skipped one.
Was the PDA up there and I missed it?
PDA's not up there.
Oh, and parking, there's been
I
no
can't
meetings.
remember which.
I think all of our PDs fall under FNA.
On the Regional Transportation Council, we just approved our list of projects. Our 2 projects were on there. That's the most I can tell you. That was my concern. And then
There's
you
a
have
lot.
SCA?
There's a lot happening at STA. Who wants to start that
Well,
update?
let's keep it simple.
We're neck deep in comprehensive plan, CEO hiring, and Connect 2035. And there's surveys and public information up on their website about those 2 plans. And please pay attention to their surveys and weigh in every chance you get.
And I guess from our other council members, for you to give information back to us on the board about those, some issues to hear feedback from you as on the CEO search. There's been lively discussion about the community involvement in that process and whether the community should meet the finalists similar to like the police search or not, or whether those should remain secret. The Teletown Hall is tomorrow, 6 to 8. Encourage people to focus on that. That's 2035. There's packages about those. One package has low-income bus fares. Another package focuses on high-performance network or stops. And the third package is about on-demand mobility. And they said we likely have funding for 2 of the 3, is I believe what they said. And the comprehensive plan has an equity statement and redefining fares. Fare capping, not capping, fare.
Fare goals.
Fare goals, fare recovery.
Cost recovery goals.
As in lower than 20%?
Redefining it. And so it would incentivize increasing the number of riders as part of that formula. So it would be total costs of a route divided by the fare times the number of riders.
I guess I would just caution, I mean, the voters approved a certain sales tax based on an expectation of recovery, and you change that midstream, they might change their minds when it comes to renewal. So I know I certainly would be concerned.
We redefined it that way we could hit that 20%. Yeah. The one meeting I filled in for, that was a topic of discussion.
So we can get 20%?
But basically what it does is it looks at the cost per rider as a more interesting metric, because the community is paying less per rider if we have 50 people on the bus, and they're getting more of a congestion management benefit from it than if we have 5 people on the bus.
And it accounts for like youth fares and others that are potentially increasing ridership but not paying fares.
Well, thank you, everybody. A lot more to come. So this meeting is adjourned, and we will see you back at 3:30 at briefing.
And we've been operating.